Use macaroni cheese, they said. They said it's that good, venues have banned it for catching such big weights of carp. The only reason they banned this is for how bad of a fishing bait it is, and the best place for it is in there, in the bloody bin. Macaroni cheese. Once a bait that used to take commercial fisheries apart. A little bit of a blast from the past, but trust me, at one time, 20 years ago, this was a massive fish catching bait, to the point a lot of places actually banned this. They still use it in Europe. I've spoken to my good mate John Harvey. He assures me there's massive weights to be caught on this. So today I'm going to find out, is this a blast from the past, or is there still a place for it in our match fishing today? So this bit's going to be a proper unknown for me today. I've never fished with it, and I've never even seen anyone fish it, so I don't really know how we're going to prepare it to catch fish, or even how to put it on the hook. But we're going to find out in a bit. I'm going to show you the bait preparation, where I'm going to fish. It's a red hot day today, it's 33 degrees. There's carp all over the top, but I'm sure by targeting the shallow water in the margins or just on the slope, we might be able to catch a few on it. I've got a couple of ideas how to prepare it and a couple of ideas of how to get on the hook. So let's quickly show you the bait in all its glory. Right. The old mac and cheese, let's have a look at it. I've never seen this in a tin before. I don't know why it's so good for catching carp. It does stink a fair bit. That's it, so let's get it out of there. I don't really know what to make of this, to be honest. So that's what we're going to be fishing with. And I'd imagine either a big old hook. You could probably hook that, it's quite tough that is, to be fair. Quite rubbery, or maybe even hair rig a piece or two with a long hair, but I've got a few bits with me to try. It's going to be messy again, it's going to be as messy as those mussels, I reckon. But to prepare it, I'm going to leave one tin hole, just like that, and I've got this boy here, the meat mincer, so I'm going to chuck a tin through the mincer for feeding, and then I'll have another tin for feeding and for the hook. So let's whiz a little bit through, see what we think. It smells, you can see why it will catch carp, but we'll definitely find out if it's going to work or not, because there's carp all over us here today. If we can't catch on this here, for me it's a no-go, so let's give it a try. Right, we're mincing. No puns intended, get all that in there. There's a whole tin there, that is, so there's not a hell of a lot of food there. Let's get it turning, I can see it coming through, here we go. Oh, that looks nice now. As long as it doesn't float, we'll be onto something. I have to get my hand in here, push it down. Oh yes, that looks just the job, that does. I tell you what, boys, we're onto something here. This is looking good. I'm sweating like an absolute warthog here. Even in the shade, it's 30 degrees. Let's whiz that through. And that's what we've got. Mush. Macaroni mush. So that's going to be fed in little blobs via a pole pot. Let me just splat a little bit in the edge there, just to see. Sinks, goes down together, so there's the prep. We'll crack on, look at this. This is going to be a mess. Another tin back in here for the hook. Right, so that's pretty much bait. Oh my god, they're swirling on it here. That's bait prep done. Let's get a rig on and get fishing, because they're already on that blob. Let's have a quick look at the rigs then. Super simple. I'm only going to fish really close to myself, just down here. It doesn't plumb up very nice. It's super rocky here, and I don't know why it's like that. And it's deep close in, so I've gone for a JL in a 0.4, just for a bit of stability. And I've just got my usual little strung bulk of 8s there. Below 5 inches below that, an number 8 dropper, 5-inch hook length, 0.18. And a 10 Kaizen just to hold this macaroni on. So the rig is really simple. I got some purple hydro in there as well. But what I've also got with me, and I don't know if you're going to need them, I got some 14 SLWGs tied up with a little bait spike on them, so I can hair rig a piece if I feel like it's too big a bait to be will mask the hook. But I don't think it will. I can always cut it down if I need to anyway. There's a few fish about. I'm just a little bit worried about how deep it is. I feel like this would be a really good bait in the margins, but we'll see how we get on. I've got some water here to wash my hands because it sticks like absolute pup to a blanket to your fingers. And I've got a towel, so I'm only going to fish short. This venue is really good, like fishing or like almost on your toenails. So I'm only fishing a long 4 and a short kit. So let's get on and see if we can catch them. I'm going to use, I've got a fast release pole cup, a large one, so we'll give them some bait. We'll try and get them in the edge. There's just so many fish on the top. It's absolutely unreal. If you had a mugging rig here, you'd catch hundreds and hundreds of pounds, I'm sure, but we're not doing that. We're fishing in the edge. So here's our concoction. I'm just going to fill my large pot up with it, like that, and I'm going to give them a blob just before we bait up. I've got my little bit of pole tip for marking the old distance, and I've got my far bank marker over there. I'm just going to blob that in there, like that. Look at it, look how sticky that is. And it goes down just like a lump of glue, to be honest. And I'm looking at that, and that isn't really looking too appealing to me. Even though we did throw a little bit in here and a fish came in, I've not seen no fish about since. And to me, there isn't a lot of attraction off of that. But we'll see. Right, so let's get a piece. I'm just going to, I don't know, hook it like a maggot, is it? Just like that. I think I'm going to cut it down a little bit. Oh, that's come off already. So that's not a very good start. There you are. That looks alright to me. There'll be some macaroni on the hook. And let's drop in there. Oh, I don't know. Oh, look at that. That had on the drop. Look at that, you can't believe that. Look how small that is. Well, it definitely works. We've caught a fish and not even got it to the bottom yet. Look at that tiny, tiny little carp, look. He's grown on in here, that little chap. Well, they want to eat it, obviously. Hopefully we'll catch a few a little bit bigger than that. So let's just cut the piece down. It is such a messy job, this. That's why I've just put my bib and brace on. Even though it's 30 degrees, you will be absolutely plastered in this stuff otherwise. So we'll give it another blob. Wash your hands off. Well, that was a quick response. If that was a 5 pounder, I'd have said we'd been on to something. So again, we'll just blob it in there. Just goes down like a ball of like dough, really. There was something on that again then on the way down. Small fish. Right, let's try and drop it in. What's going on? I'll have to hair rig this now. Or put a whole piece on. Let's try a whole piece. Right, we've touched down. Like I said, it's really, really rocky there. It doesn't plumb up very nice at all. There's loads of stones and boulders in there, but I've only come into this peg just so we've got a little bit of shade out of that sun. There's indications there. But it don't feel to me like they're proper fish. Oh, hello. We're in. Real quick little bite. Just before I hooked that, I was thinking, do I need maybe to put a little bit of water in with my mint stuff to try and get it to cloud up a little bit? Feels like a decent fish, you know. So second drop in. What we've going on? Oh no. Oh, we might not be seeing this fish if he does any more of that. Oh, look at it. Good carp that is. Well, they've come to it, for sure. You know, we've been in there literally minutes. Well, not even that. Oh yeah, that's a big fish, that is, look. Look at this. Oh yeah. On the macaroni cheese, boys. That's a lovely fish. Look at the colour on it. First ever fish on macaroni cheese. And a cracker it is. Well, no, sorry, second one, but we won't count the first one because he was tiny, but Look at that. On the old mark. It's a lovely fish. £7 that is, easily. What a lovely fish that is. Right. So like I said, I thought maybe we'll just add a little bit of water now to this, because I feel like I want it to cloud up a little bit more traction. So just gonna flick a little bit on, mix it round a bit. Now already that feels better. Just a little bit sloppier. And what I could do is take a little bit of the cheese off there. It just didn't feel like there was loads of attraction there. It's probably nice when you've got some fish in your peg to feed it like really sticky like that. But I don't know. I feel like I want to... And you know what I want to do as well? I want to put some macaroni in there, some big bits, to get them feeding. Right, so whether I've messed this up, I don't know, but that's what we're working with now. I just feel like I want it to cloud up a little bit when we pot it in. But that was on a whole piece of macaroni, that one. So we're doing first on this channel, we've done mussels, which was absolutely unbelievable. And now we're on the old mac and cheese. So let's give that a little blob. God, you would be seriously stinking if you had a full day on this stuff. Just line up my far bank marker. Let's see what that looks like when it goes in. Still exactly the same as what it was before. Just there's no cloud or nothing coming off of it. Up. Little indications. I'm going to wait for the proper clean bite though before I strike. Oh, hello. I've done it again, that little carp. Look at that. Look at these little babies. The fish absolutely thrive at this place, Silent Lakes. Such a good venue. So let's go in with a big piece again. I don't really want to be catching those little ones like that. Let's put that in. I won't feed now this time. I've only just fed. I think that's the problem with fishing. Another one. How can that eat a whole piece of macaroni? Look. Look at it, that ate a whole piece, that did. Right, we've been fishing for a little while now and already I've used all of my minced up stuff. I'm just getting mithered by little tiny, so I'm thinking I'm going to open another tin and chop it up this time, just with some worm scissors. So let's get some of this chopped then. Because maybe that minced stuff is just dragging in those little tinies, because I've never caught tiny little carp like that. Like I've caught an odd one, but not, you know, just numbers of them all the time. So let's just chop this into bigger bits. Like that. That looks pretty good. So let's try this then. God, everything's getting wrecked with this stuff. Let's put a dollop in first, because we've stopped fishing for a little while and I'm sure those little fish will have been in there clearing everything out. So there's our marker there. And let's have a little go with this. It was encouraging, like second fish caught that big one. But then since then, it's just been a little tiny carp every single time I put a rig in the water, which is really, really unusual for this place, because normally you just catch those great big ones all the time. So let's see if we can... God, there's one here, look. There he is. I'm gonna mug him. I wonder if he's gone down on that bait. Drop our rig in. I might catch him now. Ah. He was there mouthing on that bait then as I popped him in. thought after all this feed, an odd better carp would have come in. Oh, hello, we've mowned one on. Finally, after 200 micro carp, we've hooked a decent one. And they're full of beans as well. We're already almost through 3 tins. And finally, after a big carp first chuck in, we've got another one. Nice fish too. They like the macaroni for sure. Go on, there's a bee around me, get her out of it. Another nice common, look. Whoa. Oh, he's a mad one. Nicely hooked. I'm hoping now a few of these will move in and start pushing those little fish out and we can actually catch a few. It's so messy this is. Keep it going in there. Whoop. Now then, they've turned up on us. Just as I was starting to despair with this bait, finally, feels like it's starting to happen now for us. Whoa. At last. That's 2 and 2 drops now. Nice little carp. Finally, are they starting to move in on it? Oh, you didn't want to hang about that one. So what I'm doing now, I'm just hooking the macaroni right through the middle. Like that. So soft, got to be careful with it. She is. And I'm just filling my large fast release cup up, just cramming it in there. Big old dollop of it. And then because there's loads of rocks there, so I'll just put my rig in and I'll know if it's set right, because if I'm too far down the shaft, it's pulling my bristle down to too much of a little pimple. Whereas if I'm too high up, I've got a load of float sticking out, just it'll be on one of the rocks. So I'm just going to tease that up a little bit more. That's it. That's better. I've got a little bit of show on it now. No signs this time, which to be honest I'm happy about, because when those little tiny carp were in there, they were all over it like a rash. All of a sudden it feels like there might be an odd better fish visiting now. Right, so after that little flurry of carp, where we caught 3 really quickly, it's just gone back to being absolute rubbish again. Missed bites of small fish, like that. Don't feel like there's any carp coming in there. We're almost out of bait. So for me, macaroni cheese, definitely not a go-to. And to be honest, all those fisheries must have banned it because it's such a bad bait. You know, if I'd have just fished normal baits here, you'd have caught an absolute load. Oh, hello. Just moaned one on. So, well, we haven't got enough bait to carry on fishing, so this is going to be the last fish. Nice looking carp. So for me, macaroni cheese, a massive macaroni fail that is for me. Not something I'll be doing again, but at the same time, well worth trying. You know, I'd heard so much about how good of a match bait it was, but I've got to be honest, I can't really see the attraction in fishing with this stuff. It's soft, it's sticky, you get covered in it, you miss loads of bites. And to be honest, I don't really feel like the carp want to eat it. So macaroni cheese, not for me.